Right, hey guys, how we doing? Back with another video from Annie News. We've got some That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime content. We've got How Strong is Shion? Shion's really strong. Shion's like really up there. I'm very close to say that like she's probably like the strongest person that Rimuru's got in his like team. But let's see how strong she is.
Shion's immense power can be boiled down into two main categories. There's her battle will arts, which enhance her physical strength and combat capabilities, then her unique skill cook, which lets her do literally anything. No, seriously. You can't just make someone into a living meat cube without first getting powers bordering on the divine. Powers potentially capable of harming Rimuru. There's obviously more to her than just those, but if you're curious to hear more and want to know how all her skills work, keep watching as I'll be going through everything that makes Shion Tempest's warlord. If we're gonna understand how strong Shion has become, then we first need to understand the stages of her evolution.
Oh, I like this. Yes. So like, how strong was she before? When she was named? All that
We
stuff.
first
Let's go.
see her as a B-rank ogre of the forest, which on its own is definitely nothing to scoff at. They were considered the highest class of monster in the forest,
Yeah, like they were decent anyway. Like.
obviously before Rimuru, but until his arrival they were supposedly the elite. Fast forward to when they were named, and the resulting evolution was more than just turning from an ogre into a Kishin. Their lifespans
Kishin.
were now extended from 100 to over 1,000, and their
Damn.
lineage brought closer to their spiritual ancestry. It's two things that actually go hand in hand, since the more an ogre evolves, the closer they get to their original bloodline. A line you'd be surprised to know originally stems from fairies.
Oh.
So, goblins have the least fairy blood and live the shortest, ogres a bit more and live for a century, then ogre mages re-energize the power from their spiritual ancestors and in turn gain skills which border on the divine.
Cool. I love this. Love learning lore and stuff about the world.
How powerful then is Zenoni? Well, let's just say they're on the level of regional gods, both due to their near infinite lifespan and godlike magic. So, while she started out as a B-rank monster capable of wiping out a village, her evolution into a Kishin places her now above the A rank,
Nice.
a level capable of destroying entire
God
towns.
damn.
Once again, that's nowhere close to the level she's at now, but it does show she was already very strong to begin with. Now, the basis behind all of Shion's raw physical power comes from the unique art Battle Will. It's a technical skill that transforms magicals within the body into fighting spirit. If aura is what emanates when someone's not doing anything, then fighting spirit would be what the body releases during combat.
Cool. Okay.
It enhances the power of Shion's physical form. This is most notably used to expand her arsenal, since with only a sword to attack up close, Battle Will arts add quite a bit of range to her. There's
I mean,
her
it's a big
Ogre
sword.
Sword cannon, which unleashes pure energy straight from the tip of her blade, then
Yo.
Ogre Sword guillotine, which straight up extends it. The first infuses her sword with aura, then fires it off like a projectile,
So
while
cool.
the other applies the aura like a coat and has it stay there. It extends the size of the sword to 3 times what it normally is, then is usually dropped from above in one swift, gravity-enhanced slashing motion. So, whereas Ogre Sword Cannon shoots aura as pure shapeless energy, Ogre Sword Guillotine keeps it in a fixed shape. It's two fundamentally different applications, both with the use of Battle Will arts. As for how devastating these attacks were, well, each flash of cannon had shockwaves strong enough to cut orcs in half, while those physically hit literally exploded.
Whoa.
Everything within 20 feet was wiped out instantly.
Hey, that's cool.
Part of this was due to Shion's pure overwhelming strength, but the extended range wouldn't have been possible without Battle Will. Guillotine
Wow,
was
the
used
anime
in
really does
combination with
add
Ranga,
to her
and the
rack,
result
doesn't
was
it?
an attack
Jesus Christ.
faster than the speed of sound. So, both were simple yet devastating attacks, and both fit Shion to a T. Now, there is another battle will called Air Flight, and that just
Flight.
enables her to fly with magical aura.
So cool.
There's
She's
also
awesome.
Mana Bullet, which we've seen in her fight with Sophia, but that's not a very practical art to use in battle. As an art that materializes aura, molds it, then releases it, the time it takes to do all that would only be useful against someone not suspecting it. Sure, the impact's strong enough to disintegrate the target's body, but that's only if the target's still present when the
Yeah, if it
attack's
actually gets
finished
hit.
charging.
Yeah.
If anything, it's only good for showing her pure destructive energy. Another battle art is Diamond Path, and this solidifies Shion's body until it's as hard as metal. She coats her body with a layer of aura, then hardens it like some sort of protective force field. It thickens her skin to the point of preventing cuts and burns, and even allows for the absorption of lightning.
Whoa.
So, while it is one of the more advanced battle arts a Kijin can use, it's extremely useful once perfected. Now, battle will techniques can do all sorts of things, but it's actually these two extra skills which add that
Steel
additional
strength
oomph
and
to her
strength
attacks.
and body.
Steel strength enhances her physical strength, while strength and body boosts the capabilities of her muscles.
Oh,
So,
okay.
while steel strength makes her strong enough to disarm an orc general with a single swing, using it in combination with strength and body makes for some pretty heavy-hitting attacks. Keep in mind this is all before her evolution too, so I imagine where we are now, her physical strength is way beyond that.
God, she must...
Since
yeah.
we're not quite there
Whoa.
yet though, it was as of right before their fight with Charybdis that Shion was justifiably number 2 amongst the Kijin. Benimaru was the only one stronger, but when it came to frontal combat, neither Soe nor Shuna could handle her. This was also when her role as secretary was firmly established, but deep down she was truly a bodyguard. Well, more like a berserker holding the bodyguard position. That being the case, whenever she was in a fight, nothing else mattered. It's a trait best exemplified during Tempest's initial creation because every now and then you'd have the occasional Magicborn come and cause trouble. Shion would have no problem enacting the law of survival of the fittest since, for the most part, every monster tended to abide by it. A convincing show of strength was usually all it took to force them into obedience.
Yeah,
If
just beat
after
'em
those
down.
errant Magicborn still wanted to cause trouble, then Shion would have express permission to execute them. That was typically her day-to-day back before her evolution. Post-Charybdis, she had received fairly extensive training with Milim, then post-evolution is where we start to get to the good stuff. So, Master Chef, aka Cook, is a unique skill birthed from Shion's intense desire to be better in the kitchen. When her moment of evolution arrived during the
I thought it was so funny when she got that, because she's awful at cooking, and then, like, it doesn't matter what she makes, it'll taste good, even if it looks awful.
Harvest Festival, she had apparently wished so deeply to become good at cooking that she was able to manifest that desire straight into reality. The standard description is that it lets anything she makes taste exactly how she pictured in her mind, but the actual power behind it is so much more.
So funny.
In fact, I'm genuinely surprised it's not already an ultimate skill. The level in which such a power manipulates the very laws of nature is so broken that it even surprised Diablo. So, if this was enough to impress an ancient connoisseur of magic, then
Yeah.
it's definitely gotta be pretty powerful. What is it then that makes it so powerful? Well, that would be its two sub-skills, certain outcome and optimal action.
Certain alcohol.
Mainly the effects of certain outcomes, since that's the core component allowing her to manipulate reality. So, the reason Shion's food now tastes so good is because certain outcome enables her to change an object's nature to the way that she wants. It directly alters the laws of the world and essentially gives her the power to do anything.
God, yes, that is kind of
Whether
broken,
it be
isn't it?
change the
Wow.
result of an action or change the state of an object or human, no matter how impossible, Shion could do it. So long as she could imagine it, she could make it possible. Kinda like Stars and Stripes' quirk, minus all the silly restrictions. The part that went to make this skill even more OP is the fact that anything it changes then remains forever. Whatever unnatural state or outcome she's left the object she's manipulating, they'll stay like that indefinitely since that's what's considered their new natural state.
Right.
Unless a more powerful law manipulation skill was there to counter it, whatever Shion changes would be permanent. So, it's pretty crazy to know that she can permanently alter the very laws of the world, but not so crazy when she really only uses it for cooking.
Cooking, yeah.
There have been 2 instances where we've seen this in action, and both were well beyond what I thought Shion was capable of. So, the first was during her interrogation of these 3, then the other was in her battle with the paladins. I've already talked about the first one before, but the gist is that she used certain outcome to turn 3 people into living, breathing meat cubes.
Yep.
By slowly peeling back their layers of skin and muscle, Shion carefully disassembled them piece by piece, then reassembled them randomly over and over. She would do so right until they were on the brink of death, then restore them to full health as this monstrosity.
That is one hell of a
Certain
torture.
outcome
Like,
had made it
Jesus
so it was as
Christ.
if they were born this way. It didn't matter that their body no longer functioned the way it should, since
It
Shion had
still
effectively
functioned.
willed it to be otherwise.
Wow.
Now, fighting the paladins was a lot more of a basic application, since certain outcomes simply modified the effects of their holy field barrier. You see, rather than be this magical force field that purified magicules, Shion simply overrode it into something more smashable. She had got the results she wanted just by thinking about them.
Amazing.
Moving on to optimal action, This is pretty much an IRL easy mode. Not only does it allow Shion to determine the best course of action in any situation, but it also allows her to recreate anything she's done once before already. If we look back at her fight with Clayman, it's optimal action which allowed her to navigate his flurry of attacks so effortlessly. Certain outcome made them easily breakable, while optimal action provided the best route to break all of them. Such were the effects of both working together. Combine this with her intrinsic skill, Ogre Berserker, and what you get is a freakish level of force capable of overwhelming a Demon Lord. It was essentially a better version of her extra skills, an innate ability that enhances her physical capabilities way beyond what these two did before. This brings us now to what I think is Shion's most valuable asset, since its mere presence effectively makes her immortal. It's an intrinsic skill you might recognize as Complete Memory, a powerful passive born from her resurrection during the Harvest Festival. This makes it so her memories are stored in her astral body, rather than her brain, which is where they were previously stored. So that may not sound like it's anything important, but the relocation of her memories very much is. It essentially makes it so that even if her body and brain are destroyed, she can fully recover no matter what.
Whoa.
It's what happens when you combine a conscious soul with an active set of memories. The physical body can regenerate even after being vaporized. Of course, you do need something like ultra speed regeneration in order to do it, but losing her body doesn't cause death anymore. So,
Ridiculous.
Perfect Memory essentially turns Shion into a special sort of race known as a spiritual life form. It's a fancy word just meaning she can think with her soul. This is actually why Clayman's mind control proved ineffective, since a spiritual life form is straight up immune to them. Her ability to think with her soul makes any attempt on her spirit useless. All this makes battles of attrition quite her specialty, since even if Shion can't defeat an opponent one-on-one, at the very least she can fight them as long as is needed. Her cancel pain makes her feel nothing when damaged, and her ultra speed regeneration keeps her in the best shape imaginable.
Surely that's a bit dangerous though, because like if she doesn't know she's been hurt, isn't that like a
It was actually the key to gaining the upper hand in her fight with Clayman. Whereas he was becoming extremely tired, not a hint of fatigue could be seen on Shion. There wasn't even a scratch on her that you could call damage. So, to Rimuru, this was Shion looking like a demon lord herself. Now, another prime example of this extreme durability in action is once again during her fight with the Paladins. The anime didn't really show this, but when facing their joint attack, Infernal Flame, the damage done was actually quite substantial. I mean, it was an attack stated to possess more heat than nuclear cannon. So, Shion's skin did in fact burn off upon impact, but ultra speed regeneration just restored it without anyone noticing, all of which was done within the confines of a holy field. An impressive feat considering how long she was able to stay within it. As for how she was able to expertly cut the flame, well, to my surprise, she'd actually gone and utilized multiple skills in tandem.
Oh.
First was multi-layer barrier to protect herself, next was all-seeing eye and magic sense to probe her opponent's weaknesses, then after that was optimal action to read the flow of the heat waves. The result was a single fluid motion that cleaved right through the attack, allowing her to avoid taking it on directly. It made it so the only damage she took was her skin burning off. In any case, there are other examples showcasing the nonsensical nature of Shion's Master Chef skill, but I think you understand now what it's capable of.
Yeah.
She had a particularly fun time using it against the Paladins and clergy. It was at this point that she was now an Oni too, which, as I said, is yet another evolutionary step closer to her original spiritual ancestry. She was less a monster now and more just a straight-up god. Albeit a lower level one, but god nonetheless as dictated by the amount of spiritual essence she possesses. Now, for those wondering what she meant by saying she was a wicked Oni, this was just a variant leaning more towards daemon rather than elemental.
Okay.
Likely a result of one or two different factors during the Harvest Festival. So that's the majority of what makes Shion so powerful. Renard believes her to be something of a disaster class threat, but I personally think she goes even beyond that.
Beyond it, wow.
I mean, Rimuru himself mentioned here that she's pretty much the same level as Benimaru now. There is one last thing I still need to talk about though, and that's Shion's sword, Gorikimaru. It's a special greatsword imbued with the effect Soul Eater, a modification allowing it to attack the spiritual body. Unfortunately, it doesn't literally eat souls, but what it can do is deal damage to spirit-based life forms. It basically does the same thing as Hinata's sword, minus the whole 7-hit restriction thing. So, depending on the amount of force Shion applies, she could very easily kill someone instantly unless successfully resisted. That's not to say it would kill 100% of the time, but when it came to an aggressive fighter like Shion, one hit could very well be more than enough.
God damn.
Such was the potential outcome when attacking with both spiritual and physical damage. Then, for those wondering how she could possibly unsheath it, she doesn't need to since the scabbard just disappears with magic. But yeah, that's pretty much how strong Shion is. She may not be the smartest, but she does have a very keen sense for battle. Like, whenever she senses victory, she'll always pounce at the chance to secure it. That's not to say she isn't learning either though, since while before she'd only attack headfirst with brute strength and force, she's now learned how to apply herself better.
Yeah.
She's made strides in using technique to beat those inherently more powerful. So, all in all, she's quite the impressive fighter. I can't say whether she's stronger than Benimaru or not, but to say she's as strong as a Demon Lord might be an understatement. If she truly learned how to hone the effect of her certain outcome sub-skill, then that by itself could even be a threat to Rimuru.
She's definitely up there.
It's a feat that at this point in the story shouldn't be overlooked. Now, I just want to thank Azur Lane once again for sponsoring this video, since it's sponsors like them that do allow me to keep making content like this. So, if you're interested in the game and wanted to check it out, then it'd be great if you can show them some love using the link down in the description. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of anime content, then you already know what to do. So until next time, ciao.
Very cool. She's so OP. She's so OP. It's so cool to have that explained though. But yeah, like I love the Master Chef thing is like something that can be used in fights, but she just prides herself on being able to just cook anything and make it look absolutely disgusting but taste magnificent. Thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video and want to be able to watch patron-only reactions, such as the original Dragon Ball series, the link is in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask to help support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you all guys, next time.